Alright guys, today you're going to watch a couple of videos, do some practice with me that's going to help you with this whole idea of exponential growth and exponential decay. We're kind of right in the middle of it right now, and we need some practice. So we're going to practice here together. So I'm hoping you have your notes and you're ready to go to try to work this through. Alright, so again, how do I know I have growth? My base is greater than 1. Okay, so if I have a base that's greater than 1, I will be using the growth reference points. But first I need to identify what is A, what is B, what is H, and what is K. Right? So for this example here, my A value is -2, my B value is +2, my H is 0. There's no number being added or subtracted there, and my K is -3. Right? If you need to, reference back to what we wrote at the top of this page here. This is the second page of your notes. And you've got A times B to the x minus H plus K. That's the format that we pull the A, B, H, and K from. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to write down what our two reference points are. So point number 1 is found by doing H, comma, A plus K. And then point number 2 is found by doing 1 plus H, comma, AB plus K. Then your horizontal asymptote is going to be found by doing Y equals K. All right, so here we go. H, comma, A plus K. So H is 0, so this first point is going to be 0, comma, A plus K is going to be -5. And then 1 plus H, so 0 plus 1 is 1. Comma, A times B, well, A times B is -4, plus K, -3. So you've got -4 plus -3 is -7. And those are your two reference points. Now, your horizontal asymptote is Y equals K, Y equals -3. All right, so now you're going to go ahead and graph Y equals -3. Okay. So I did that. And now you're going to plot your two reference points, 0, comma, -5, which is right here, and 1, comma, -7, which is right here, approximately. It goes off the graph by 1, but that's okay. And now what we're going to do is, again, let that dog run closer to the fence, but don't let him touch. And this is going to be the graph that you're going to get. Okay. All right, so let's move to the second one here. Again, identify what A is, what B is, what H is, and what K is. So A is 3, B is 3, H is -2, and K is +1. Okay, again, you can go back and rewind, review, see these things again if you need to. Now, because the base is greater than 1, we'll be using the growth reference points, which are H, comma, A plus K, and 1 plus H, comma, AB plus K. All right, so, and then I need my horizontal asymptote also, so that's Y equals K. All right, so this should be pretty simple now because all I have to do is just plug into my formula. H is -2, so I'm going to get -2, comma, A plus K, that's 4, 3 plus 1. And now 1 plus H, so 1 plus -2 is -1. And now we'll do A times B, which is 9, plus 1, which is 10. And so now my horizontal asymptote is Y equals K. My K value is 1. So Y equals 1. All right, so now I'll just plot that asymptote first. Y equals 1, side-to-side line, dotted. Plot your 2 points, that -2 is +4, and that -1 is +10. It's going to go off the graph, so I'll have to kind of guesstimate it. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about right there. And again, the dog is going to run this direction, closer to the fence, but not touch it. All right, so easy enough there to be able to do this. Okay. Now, once we've figured out graphing, we've gotten a little better at that. Now the next thing we need to be able to do is find the equation from a graph, all right? And you'll see here the hint is to use the reference points. Okay, now you can kind of see this is that picture. These are exponential equations, right? Again, you got to recognize the look of the graph and go from there. All right, so now here's what we need to do. So we need to start by figuring out, since it is going uphill like this, this is growth, right? And when you've seen decay in class, you kind of know that the decay is going downhill, whereas this is going up. And you have to be careful on the reflection, because if you look at this one above here, you might say, oh, that's decay. No, no, no. I know it's going down, but it's been reflected. If you reflect it back up, it would look something going up this way. That is growth. Okay, so since it is growth, we will use the reference points. Well, my two reference points are h, comma, a plus k, and 1 plus h, comma, ab plus k. Now, what I'm going to do for you is when you do this test-wise, I will make this very obvious which reference points to use. Okay, so the reference points you're going to use here, I'm looking at my sheet to make sure I'm looking at this right. Yep, we're going to use 1, comma 4 right there. So plot that point and go ahead and circle that. And then you're also going to plot here this other point, which is at 2. Well, actually, I want to do this to make this a little less complicated. Let's do this. Change on the x-axis your numbers by 1s. Okay, so let's change this because the graph is by 2s here, and that's going to complicate things a little bit. So let's not complicate things. Let's go by 1s. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Just change that on your axis. -1, -2, -3, -4. Okay, so again, I've got 1, comma 4 is one reference point, and my other reference point is going to be at 2, comma 7. Okay, I'm going to actually label those 1, comma 4 is here, and 2, comma 7 is there. Now, if you look at it closely, you can actually tell what the asymptote is. Look at it. It's getting closer and closer here. I can actually even dot that in so I can see it. It's getting closer and closer here at y equals, this is y equals 3. All right, so now, with that information, we should be able to do it. Now, which one is reference point number 1 and which one is reference point number 2? The one that's closest to the asymptote, that's reference point number 1. Okay, so 1, comma 4 is going to match up with this one. And then the next one after that, that's going to be reference point number 2. So again, the one that's closest to the asymptote, that's reference point number 1. Okay, so now, you can see right now that we're going to need A, B, H, and K to make the equation. And now we just got to kind of work backwards here to figure out what is what. Well, it's obvious that H is 1 because it's H directly lining up. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So again, H is 1. Now the next one you're going to want to find is actually going to be K. And the reason why you want to find Kx next is because your asymptote is y equals K. So if it's y equals 3, your K is 3. Okay, now how does that help me? Well, A plus K, A plus 3 should equal 4. This part should equal that. So A plus 3 should be 4. Well, that means that A needs to be 1. 1 plus 3 makes 4. Now, I think it's a little more challenging to find B because you've got a little more complicated equation here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that it's A, B plus K equals 7. I know that this part has to equal 7. And I'll substitute in what I know. I know that A is 1, so this is 1B plus K, well, we know K is 3, equals 7. Subtract 3 from each side, and you have B is 4. And now you have your equation, right? Well, not quite yet, but we've got the information we need. Remember, it's f of x equals a parenthesis b to the x minus h plus k. So f of x is going to equal a, which is 1. I'd put the 1 there. 1 times b, well, my b is 4, to the x Now remember, you do opposite here, so it's not going to be x plus 1, it's going to be x minus 1, because it's a positive 1, we do the opposite. And now plus k plus 3, and there is the equation of your graph. Okay? All right, let's try the same thing with letter B. Now, sometimes they give you a bunch of points. I am not going to do that to you test-wise. I'm going to be very specific with you which ones are the reference points. And the reference points that we're going to use here are going to be this one here. I'm going to circle it, and I'll actually label that. That is -1, 2. We're going to use that one as our first reference point. And then the second reference point we're going to use is here, and that is the point 0, 4. So there are your two reference points. Now, this thing is coming down. It's getting closer and closer to my asymptote here. My asymptote is going to be y equals 0. Now again, which one is reference point number 1? It's the one that's closest to the asymptote. So reference point number 1, which is represented by h, a plus k, is going to be -1, 2. Now reference point number 2 is going to be our second one here, that 1 plus h, ab plus k. And that is the point 0, 4. Okay, so again, your first reference point is always the one closest to the axis, or sorry, to the asymptote. Said that wrong. Close to the asymptote. And then the second one is the one that follows. All right, so again, we need to find A, we need to find B, we need to find H, we need to find K. Remember, H is the easy one. It's right here. H is -1. Okay. What is, well, the next thing I want to go to is K, because my asymptote is y equals K. So my K is 0. Now, I need to go to this part. A plus K equals 2. I'm actually using an equation to solve it here. I'm going to say A plus K is 0 equals 2. So that means that A has to be 2. And then to find B, we'll use AB plus K equals 4. This part should equal that part. So A times B, well, A is 2, B, plus K, K is 0, equals 4. We're going to go ahead and divide each side by 2 there, because there's no number to subtract over. And B then equals 2. And so now you have the information you need for your equation. It's going to be f of x equals 2 times 2 to the x plus 1. Remember, use opposite on h. And then plus 0. You don't need to write that. And you've got it. Okay, so there is your review on your growth. Next video you're going to watch is a review on decay. All right, take a little break. Come back and watch again.